This is part 3 of Is the Nikon Z6II Focus Tracking So Terrible? And just wanted to update everybody on this a little bit for those that care. Got a few comments that I must have been using VR when I was doing my silly focus tests, and then that way somehow it was stabilizing the focus. I don't know. I don't think that's something that works that way for VR, but someone made the claim. Others said that, well, it's a static subject, so that's not real world. A few said, well, you need to be at 100% of the image so that we can see it's in focus. Seeing the tracking box move doesn't mean anything. I do understand that because that's true. That could just be an interface thing. My point in the original video was just to show that, yes, the little yellow tracking box does sort of stick with your subject. Nothing fancy here. In this case, I shot my dog. I'm using Nikon Capture, or rather Nikon Studio NX or NX Studio. I don't really use this. I normally use Capture One. But nonetheless, I'm using this because it shows the actual focus box. So you can see the overall bunch of shots that I did this afternoon with a very patient wife who was willing to hold my dog. And just a little disclaimer, I don't make the point here that every single frame is perfectly sharp in focus. I'm hand holding the camera. I'll give you a little view of my settings so you get an idea of what's happening here. Over here on the far side, you can see it's a Nikon Z6II. I'm using my 70-200 2.8. It was set to autofocus continuous. You'll see I'm switching. There's wide area large right now. And for those that think VR has some magic in helping the sensor focus, I turned VR off. And there's no way of fine-tuning. Additionally, I shot at f2.8 at 2,000th of a second. So these are straight out of camera raw. I haven't done any tweaking, no sharpening. It's just whatever the camera was set to, which was standard. And no fancy sharpening, as I said. No exposure comp. Some of them are a little hot. I'd be tweaking them in raw, but that's not the point of this video. So, as I said, from sort of a disclaimer, is everything 100% sharp, every single frame captured? No. I photographed my Belgian Malinois, and he is a pretty active dog. So I'm going to go and I'm going to zoom into my very first image of my shoot. And there we go. We'll just bring this into view so you can see this. A little bit of, apparently, NX Studio isn't exactly the fastest for panning. So there's the start of the shoot. I'm just going to go back to a full image view. And again, this is wide area, large. Focus tracking is not being used. It's just simply continuous focus, letting the camera focus with what it sees in that box. So I'm shooting at continuous high. So not the high plus. I do that a little bit later. So if you, if you're not interested, if this is too long and boring, I get it. Like I said, I'm not doing this for likes. I'm doing this just because I'm sick of the noise saying that, the focus is so terrible. So here we go. Here's our very first frame in a sequence. And I'm just going to cycle through. And dog is running inside. And I'm keeping the box on dog. So here he comes. So I'm just going to stop here for a second. I'm just going to hit 100%. And is he sharp? Yeah, I think he's pretty sharp. Maybe a little bit getting out of focus. He's running fast. And again, no focus tracking. This is just continuous focus. And he gets off the frame because he's moving really fast. By the way, if you don't know Belgian Malinois, look them up. You can Google them. They're pretty cool dogs. Mine's great. Here we go again. So again, just so you can see, no tricks, continuous wide area AF. That's what the box is. Going to do it again. And I'll be doing auto area and also doing focus tracking. So if you want to run ahead, you can see that, fast forward. You might have heard the dog bark. Here we go. Just cycling through. And I'll just pick a frame at random. How are we doing here? It looks pretty sharp. I would say he's pretty sharp. Maybe it's got drifted a little bit into his body. Hard to say. I'm just picking frames at random. But there we are, and he's going to get close now. So it dropped into, I'm not sure why it's doing that, but it did this. It was wide area. So there we go. Grabbed his face. And there we go. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of a drift there, which is okay. This is not selecting the subject. It's just doing its thing in wide area with no subject matter in mind. Now, here's a change, a little bit of a change. This is auto area AF. So this is literally just the full image, the full screen, I guess you could say. Every focus sensor doing its thing. So it's picked up 2 subjects and it gets a little confused. So again, no idea that there's a running dog coming at it. So it kind of doesn't know what to do. It looks at the background. It's kind of not sure. Then it starts to get some smarts going on. It's still a little confused. And then it starts to pick up on the dog, crazily enough. Now, I'll just zoom in to 100% and see how are we doing. Let's pan over here. And it's trying to work on the dog. Again, I don't think this is the best choice for focus areas when you've got something just running randomly. It's working on it. Now notice it did pick up. There he is, and he's sharp. Nice and sharp. So this is just, basic. It has to make a decision based on everything in the scene, and that motion of the dog seems to have triggered it when he got that big. Let's see how he is here. Maybe not so sharp. Pretty good. It's got him pretty good. The eyes are even sharp. It focused on his nose right through to his eyes. Again, this is f2.8, so I don't have a lot of depth of field. Now it's kind of getting confused. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see. No, not so much, eh? Kind of did a pretty good job. I hear people getting like 0 results. It's so terrible. Again, this is not focus tracking. This is just auto area. What do you think? Eyes look sharp? I think they look sharp. Dog looks sharp? Looks pretty good to me. Again, I haven't done anything. No post-processing. Now he's getting really close. As you can see, he's going to get like ridiculously close to me. He's down at the bottom of the frame. So once the subject got large, the camera knew exactly what to do with it. So, by the way, if you're photographing birds in flight and they are like dots, and you say your autofocus isn't working, you're right. Because this camera doesn't understand what a dot is. But once your subject gets good in auto area, good size, it seems to pick up pretty good. Again, here's auto area, no focus tracking turned on. Not quite sure. Oh, I think it's starting to figure out that the dog's coming. Let's take a look. Yep, it's starting to figure it out. Now maybe you want it to be able to pick up subjects that are this small in your frame instantly and know. Remember, this guy is barreling at me. He is just running. And I wouldn't choose this for any high-speed action because I don't think this mode is really designed for that. Maybe somebody else's camera brand is better at this. Started to figure out the dog. Notice he got bigger and suddenly it's turning on and tracking. So it's starting to figure things out on its own. Is he sharp? Yeah. And I'll tell you, this frame is a lot better than those tiny little dot images that people sometimes think are animal shots. Is he sharp? Maybe a little off. I think the tip of his nose got it. So maybe some depth of field issues, but the tip of the nose is sharp. May not be able to be so visible in YouTube. Here we go again. Here's some more. And now it's starting to look around. And again, dog is coming at me really fast, by the way. He is motoring. Okay, and so that just stops that sequence. So now this is auto area again, but this time I turned on the focus tracking. So I turned on that center box and I hit my back button focus and then I started shooting. And I do shoot sequences now. I start using faster sequences rather than just continuous high. I go continuous high star. So you know that slideshow effect, not a fan of it. I'll be honest, I wish it was a little more up to speed. So I might lag a little bit in my pan or tracking my dog. But here we go in sequence. So here's the focus box. So again, the big question, will it stick? Here goes Blaze running at me. It's tracking him. It's tracking him. Again, let's do just a quick test, 1-to-1. What do you think? Does he look sharp? That's 100% on screen. I think he's sharp. At least I think he's sharp. I see him as sharp. It's tracking him. Starting to drift a little bit. No, it's back. Oh, it's got his face. What do you think? Let's see. What do we got? Looks like he's sharp. Now, of course, he's not a bird in flight. Malinois don't fly. Well, they do, but not in the way you think. They usually jump out of airplanes with some Navy SEALs. Now, it seems to be drifting a little bit. Here we go. Again, oh, wait a minute. Let's see what's happening. No way. It's stuck to his eye and face and head. And that's just the yellow tracking box doing its thing. Remember, I'm shooting about 10 frames a second. Grabbed his nose. I know, everyone says Nikon's autofocus stinks. Maybe it does. I'm quite happy with what I'm seeing. This again, it went for the ear because that's probably near the bottom of the frame. And oh, look, eyes are focused. How is it doing that? I thought this was supposed to be a total fail. Oh, it grabbed his nose now. It grabbed his nose. Now, of course, as some will say, dogs don't fly as fast as birds. And that's true. Dogs don't fly. They don't fly fast at all. Unless they're falling from a nice halo jump. But that's another story. Anyway, here we go. That's up nice and close. Again, this is just shooting. He goes out of frame. Camera can't focus that close anymore. Here we go. Here we go. Another burst. Focus tracking box. Now he's running straight at me. Maybe he should be running, you know, serpentine, zigzagging all over the place, but he doesn't. He just likes to home in on me. Here we go. Patient wife putting up with this ridiculousness. I'll do a nice little one-to-one. I could do every frame, but I think I'd bore you guys to death, and maybe you're already bored. Is he sharp? Is he? Is he? I think so. Looks pretty cool, doesn't he? Typical dog owner talking about his dog all the time. Okay, the box is kind of a little bit off. So yes. And again, remember, oh no, it looks like he's sharp. I'm doing this with the viewfinder slideshow. So I'm about a millisecond behind on that. There's that lag, right? How'd it do? Let's take a look. Just a little bit off the frame. But I can't complain about that. Yeah, he's out. Here we go again. So I can at any point come in and give you a 100%. I'm just picking these at random, by the way. I haven't rehearsed this. So the surprises are there for me too. Think of that coming at you at night. Not a pleasant sight. I pity the bad guy who comes in between him and me. Here we go. Crazy little yellow box. That thing is tracking my dog. Here we go. We'll just keep going. I'll just cycle through. So that's focus tracking with auto area. Okay, that's the camera just doing its thing. That's not me. And there's no VR, folks, the ones that want to say, oh, VR is somehow magically making focus. So now it started picking up a little more contrast and some special stuff here. I actually changed one of the angle he comes at me just to adjust the lighting to see if that makes a difference. Is every frame perfect? No. And like I say, I'm doing continuous high star, so I'm not able to see him coming at me real time like the Z9, Z9, depending on where you live. So yes, he's out of focus here, but he's back in. So I don't know. Is it the camera? Is it the photographer, me, whatever, not tracking with the dog? Hard to tell. He's out of the frame. There we go. Here we go again. So again, sorry if this is kind of boring for you folks, but just cycling. This is focus tracking box. I'm going to do eye detect. Eye detect for people. I'll do eye detect for animals. By the way, Blaze is going to be a real challenge because he's got a black face with, you know, black muzzle, black around his eyes. Hard for a camera to pick out the eyes on this. Maybe a Dalmatian would be better. I don't know. All the spots, that'd be cool. Here we go. That's out of focus. and he's coming at me. Grabbed his tail now, and he's out. So camera lost him at that point. But again, that could be camera. I also have to take some credit for probably being messed up when panning with him. Here we go again. A little different angle, a little more contrast on the dog. Light has changed. I haven't zoomed in at 100%. So for those that are saying, we can't tell. Well, there he is. Again, just to confirm what I'm doing, nothing special or magical here. 70 to 200 2.8, continuous autofocus area, no VR, and I'm using Focus Tracking Box. So that's the point of this. This is not about eye detect. That's another story. That's another test. So just for those that are saying his eyes aren't being focused on by eye detect, of course not, because it's not turned on. This is focus tracking, going around the frame, letting it track the dog. And yes, again, he's coming straight at me. Got to put in all the caveats because I know there'll be some commentary. And if I sound a bit snarky, sorry, not trying to be. Just kind of had my fill of all the noise that goes on. So there we go. There's a bit more. I'll go back out to 100%. Sorry, to full view. There we go. I wish Capture One showed focused the way this does, but got to live with company software. So that's a little bit off. Maybe it's picked up on that side view of him. Yeah, but he's still, you know, his eyes are pretty much in the same plane. What do I say? Again, this can be me not tracking him fast enough as he gets close because I'm slightly behind as he's moving toward me. I'm seeing him after he's already past that position. But look at the box was trying to get there. Right at the end, it snuck down to the bottom. And that's the last frame. So there you have it. This is completely unedited. This is every single frame I shot over that period of time. And I will show you if I can give you the time frame. There it is, 2:59 today, November 11th, 2:59:02:28. There's your time frame. And I will just go down to the last frame so you can see that this is pretty much just, you know, there you go, 3:17:26. This frame is 52:40. And this frame is 52:21. So there you go. So there's a couple little burst sequences. Did I say 52:21? 50:21, sorry. That's more like it. That would have been 20 frames. It was 220 frames that I pushed through just to do this in series bursts. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. You can see there's that whole series shooting at continuous high plus or star. There's another few bursts. And then, like I say, the auto area ones that were just on their own or auto area large were at the continuous high to start with. What do I say? Hopefully you find that helpful. Hopefully you find that interesting. If it bores you, I get it. As somebody said, I watched 10 seconds and I moved on. I understand. Like I say, I'm not doing this for likes or any kind of monetization of YouTube. I'm just putting this out there because I'm just sick of all the negative noise. And yes, the Z9 will definitely be cooler. So have fun. I'll do some eye focus tracking just to see how that works and post it for those that want it. Anyway, have a good weekend.